Okay, so I'm going to show you how to put together your electromagnetic charge arm. It should look like this when finished. Okay, start that by pulling mine apart. Okay, so to get started, a couple of things you should know. All of the parts are tight. They have a very tight tolerance, and that's what you want to have. If your parts are too tight on this rod, you want to just take a little pad, and especially mine's just a little bit scratched up, so I'm just going to take this scrub pad and sand it out a little bit. Okay, so now that's beautiful. So what you're going to want to do first is test this hole fit right here. Now when I first built mine, this hole was very tight, so I had to get some sandpaper and I sanded inside this hole here just a little bit, and then sanded this down just a little bit. But you can see it's still very tight on that rod, and that's what you want this to have. And ignore this paint job because it did not go well. I'll fix that later. Okay, so that's going to slide in like this. You're going to take this guy here, and he's going to slide on, and you're going to want to align these holes so that this hole lines up and this hole lines up. Can only go one way, so you can't really screw it up. Alright, so next you're going to take this guy, little set screw, and he's just kind of a spacer, and he just presses inside this hole. And he goes in, you just have to make sure the holes line up, and he'll just fit in there like this. Okay? Then you're going to take this bell housing, he slides on just like that. And then you're going to take this guy, and a little trick that I did was when I first got it, it looks like this. This is what you guys are going to have. If you soak this part in vinegar for about 5-10 minutes, stick it in the oven on about 475 for another 15 minutes, it'll age it really fast, giving it a darker look, which is what you really are going to want to have. And that slides on next. Okay, we have your plastic part here, and he's going to slide on there. Okay, and we're going to set this guy down, and we're going to work on the main piece. So my main piece is already done. Some of the things when you're doing this is this part here is tight when you're putting it together, and it needs to be tight because it kind of press fits onto this tab. But the key on building this is this part needs to be pressed all the way down as far as possible, so that's kind of floating up here on top. If you don't do that, then it's not going to fit together, and your pieces are going to flop around, and you're not going to be able to get this spacer on here. Okay. The other thing is getting this guy on. He's maybe too difficult to put in with your fingers because you can't get a good grip. What I did is I had these pliers with a piece of tape, on each side, so I didn't scratch it, and then just put it in with your pliers. and it goes in really nice. Obviously just slide the rubber part on when you're done. Your little prongs, what I like to do, and these ones haven't done it yet, is take these with some fine sandpaper or a scrub pad and just clean them off. And then a little soap and water, and they shine up really nice. Some people have asked why I had changed this design from a 45-degree design, or like this, like I showed in the renderings. It's because this looks more like the actual used in the movie prop compared to the prop that I had copied that does not look like anything that was ever in a movie. If you don't like this design and you like this one better, this is long enough that you can cut this end off with a pair of pliers or a Dremel, and then just with, another set of pliers, bend that piece to get your 45-degree angle. Okay? And then you're going to put on your insulators, and they slide into here, just like that. Okay? Now I designed this part to be able to hook these up to an electronic system if you want to. And the way that works is these parts are designed to be soldered onto a wire that then travels through this hole here. You can see there's a hole that goes all the way through the housing, and then there's an opening in the back. So these wires will come through, turn into here, and on your white piece you can see that if you align this just right, you'll see that there's two hole openings that you'll run your wires through, and they will actually go through this groove into these holes through the tube. So I'm not going to get into the electronic system right now, but just letting you know that this is able to hook up to something like that. Okay, so once you have that done, and you have this guy twisted in, and you have these guys situated how you like, we're going to stick this on. Stick that on sideways. There's no hole opening, so that will slide in like this. You'll notice that if you don't slide this all the way up, you're not going to have this gap right here, and this guy is not going to fit on, and he will fit on. So take this, slide that through, drop this guy on. Okay. And what I haven't had is, this guy also has an LED, and he's flangeless, but he still has a little bit of a flange. So you're going to need to get a file or some sandpaper and sand this guy down. And before you put him in, obviously you're going to need to put some shrink tube on these wires. And I did not provide the coiled wire because I haven't been able to find a good source for that for myself, but if I do, then I will let you guys know where to get it, or if I can just get a lot of it, then I will make you guys aware. But these will need to be cut down. This runs into here, and this is for the wire that's going to come out the back. This guy's just going to come on here. Spin him a little bit. Okay, and I get him facing forward. And then using the bottom, I just twist this so he's tight. And you'll see that there's still a little bit of slop here. This guy then screws in tight, and you should not have very much slop in here when you're finished. Okay, and there is your zapper arm.